There are two kinds of stress. The first one is little stress, which happens in special circumstances such as exams or other competitions, and can be considered as a motivation to improve performances. You always think about stress as a really bad thing, but it's not. Look on the bright side, and some stress is good for you. Stress can be something that makes you better, but it is a question of how much, how long, and how you interpret or perceive it. The other one is what we usually talk about, caused by poor time management. Good time management is essential if you are to handle a heavy workload without excessive stress. Time management helps you to reduce long-term stress by giving you direction when you have too much work to do. It puts you in control of where you are going and helps you to increase your productivity. By being efficient in your use of time, you should enjoy your current work more, and should find that you able to maximize the time outside work to relax and enjoy life. Poor time management is a major cause of stress. I'm sure we have all had the feeling that there is too much to do and not enough time. We can start to feel panicky and anxious and lose focus. It's important to note that you can have this feeling even if there's hardly anything to do at all. Hence, to release such stress, people could use a calendar to schedule and find a balance between play and work.
What we're looking at with the concept of moral objectivism is the idea that there can be some universal moral principles, some rules, ideas, and recommendations that apply to everyone in all social circumstances and situations. The concept of having some sort of roadmap or signposts to guide conduct will be consistent across all individuals. If we look at it from a different angle, we can come up with a moral absolutist viewpoint. In the field of moral absolutism, we essentially have a very solid and unyielding boundary between what is right and what is bad, as shown on the right-hand side of this slide. So, within moral absolutism, these non-overridable principles are essentially what you have. They must be adhered to. They could not be broken under any circumstances, and there were no exceptions. It's always correct. It is always incorrect. Nothing is open to interpretation, and nothing is contingent on the circumstances.
Most companies know the need to go mobile to make their workforce more productive and efficient, but many don't know what is needed outside of buying some tablets and software. The truth is, companies simply don't consider how a mobile employee will carry or use a tablet while out in the field, whether that be an actual field, the floors of an emergency room, the roof of a hail-damaged house, or the halls of a huge hotel. The problem is elegant in its simplicity. A tablet, like any tool, must be easily carried and accessible at all times. For most of us who sit behind a computer all day, this doesn't seem like an issue, but think about what it would be like to climb a ladder while, at the same time, juggling a tablet. A mobile device carrying solution is just as important for anyone working with a tablet, such as an iPad, as it is for a carpenter needing a tool belt for a hammer. Mobility is all about efficiency and increased productivity. If executed right, that's the end result. If executed wrong, it can be a costly mistake, hazardous to the worker's safety.
Dating is never easy. Never mind first impressions and the getting to know you awkwardness. The internet has created a world where every foible, every flaw, every little thing, both literally and figuratively, is on display for all the world, including potential dating partners, to see. Surviving any worst-case scenario comes down to not panicking, having a plan, and ultimately being prepared. David Borjanicht, author of the complete worst-case scenario survival handbook, Dating and Sex, told the Chicago Tribune in an interview. And this applies to the realm of dating.
Lawrence Stephen Lowry RBSRA was an English artist. Many of his drawings and paintings depict Pendlebury, Lancashire, where he lived and worked for more than 40 years, and also Salford and its surrounding areas. Lowry is famous for painting scenes of life in the industrial districts of northwest England in the mid-20th century. He developed a distinctive style of painting and is best known for his city landscapes peopled with human figures often referred to as Matchstick Man. He painted mysterious unpopulated landscapes, brooding portraits and the unpublished marionette works, which were only found after his death.
What is nanotechnology? Well, a report that was put together by a combination of the Royal Society and the Royal Academy of Engineering that came out last summer, identifies two topics. Nanoscience is the study of phenomena and the manipulation of materials at atomic, molecular, and macromolecular scales, where properties differ significantly from those at a larger scale. Nanotechnologies are the design, characterization, production and application of structures, devices and systems by controlling shape and size at the nanometer scale. So I'll talk a little bit more in a moment about what a nanometer is, but loosely speaking, people think of nanotechnologies as being a sort of 100 nanometers or less.
Dogs are not just man's best friend. Previous studies have shown that kids with dogs are less likely to develop asthma. Now a new study may show how, if results from mice apply to us. The work was presented at a meeting of the American Society for Microbiology. The study tests what's called the hygiene hypothesis. The idea is that extreme cleanliness may actually promote disease later on. Researchers collected dust from homes that had a dog. They fed that house dust to mice. They then infected the mice with a common childhood infection called respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV.
If you were one of the 73 million Americans who tuned into the Ed Sullivan Show in 1964 as the Beatles irrevocably changed rock and roll, prepare yourself for perhaps the perfect vacation idea. Did you embrace Beatlemania and never look back? If the answer is an enthusiastic yes, the Sea Tour's Icons of Britain may knock your Paul-loving socks off. While it's not quite all Beatles, all the time, the tour has several other must-sees in London, Scotland, and Wales. One big draw is seeing where the Fab Four got their start and recapturing what's described as the fevered feel of the early 60s in Liverpool. Here's some of what you'll see. The Beatles' boyhood homes. It's easy to imagine the teenaged Paul and John writing the lyrics to I Saw Her standing there in the living room of the future Sir Paul McCartney's humble 24th Road house. As McCartney recalled, I'd start off with she was just 17, she'd never been a beauty queen. And he'd be like, oh no, that's useless. The Cavern Club. Still a live music venue today, the club hosted the Beatles 292 times. It's especially packed when a tribute band dons mop tops and yeahs their hearts out. There was supposed to be a 293rd time, promised by manager Brian Epstein before the group ventured to America, but it never happened. Jaw-dropping castles. You will glimpse inside the Queen's official residence, Windsor Castle, including recent, and possibly juicy, tidbits from a local tour guide about the goings-on there. Furthermore, a boisterous evening banquet at Cardiff Castle will explain what's meant by Welsh hospitality. The Beatles story. Nestled in the heart of Liverpool's revitalised Wharf District, this state-of-the-art attraction includes a behind-the-scenes look at Abbey Road Studios, an underwater trip on the Yellow Submarine and a Fab 4D extravaganza that uses the latest technology to bring the group's music to life.
Every year on November 11, we formally thank men and women who have honorably served in the United States military. In fact, Veterans Day was born on May 13, 1938 as a way of honoring the veterans of World War I. Fast forward to 2017, and thousands of our fathers, mothers, sons and daughters have served in World War II, the Vietnam War and war in Afghanistan, to name a few. At Humana, one of the nation's leading health and well-being companies, the commitment to veterans is strong. Humana, across its diverse sites and services, works closely with its members, partners and industry to foster innovation in health care for all of its members, including our veterans. Several partnerships enable Humana to honor veterans through education and guidance about navigating health care choices, specifically, when veterans have the opportunity to consider health care options through the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs (VA) and plans like Medicare Advantage. There are often misconceptions among veterans about how their VA benefits work with Medicare Advantage. In fact, enrolling in a Medicare Advantage plan may provide veterans with additional service and location options.
The deck is swept and ready for summer barbecues, the lawn is freshly mowed, and the outdoor furniture is dusted off. In short, the stage is set for cookouts, family gatherings and entertaining late-night porch hangouts. But don't get left in the dark. According to the Americans Lighting Association, ALA, proper outdoor lighting is just as important for a beautiful landscape as a lush lawn, bright flower beds, green plants and manicured shrubs. Jeff Dross, Corporate Director of Lighting Education and Industry Trends for Kichler Lighting, recently explained that homeowners are opening up to new ideas with landscape lighting.
Even as basketball has put a pause on its season, doesn't mean that you can't still support the person in your life that lives for love of the game. Now there is a gift for the baseball fan who has everything, his or her own stadium. A collection of exquisite models of Major League Baseball stadiums lets fans bring their favorite ballparks home. Searching for the right gift for Father's Day, birthday, or any special occasion can be a challenge, but a one-of-a-kind rendition of a favorite stadium will be showstopper for an art enthusiast, sports fan, or collector of sports _________________________
Being charged with a crime is serious and has long-term consequences. If you or someone you know has been charged with a crime, a state bar-certified criminal law specialist can make the difference. The attorneys are experts in criminal law who are ready to navigate the tricky territory of the criminal justice system. The team at Attorneys for Freedom stands out for their attention to their individual clients and belief in the live and let live ______________________________________________________________________________________________________________________:.
What's an article? I was asking myself this very question in the post office yesterday, standing in line waiting to sign for, as it so happens, an article. A postal article. Not the postal article. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, an article in English is a word that precedes a noun and simply indicates specificity. This sounds quite complicated, and to be honest, it's quite complicated to say without spraying everyone within 15 feet, but the concept specific thing or type, for example, the train is an hour late. By comparison, the indefinite article in English is any of the words a, an, or some, and the indefinite article indicates a nonspecific thing, for example, would you please pass me an apple? We always precede a word with a if it doesn't start with a vowel sound. For example, take a hike, I'm spending a weekend at Bernie's, or there's a knight in shining armor. Similarly, we precede words with the indefinite article an if they do start with a vowel sound, for example, an ostrich, an occupational mess, or an occupational health and safety policy. What's an article? I was asking myself this very question in the post office yesterday, standing in line waiting to sign for, as it so happens, an article. A postal article. Not the postal article. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, an article in English is a word that precedes a noun and simply indicates specificity. This sounds quite complicated, and to be honest, it's quite complicated to say without spraying everyone within 15 feet, but the concept specific thing or type, for example, the train is an hour late. By comparison, the indefinite article in English is any of the words a, an, or some, and the indefinite article indicates a nonspecific thing, for example, would you please pass me an apple? We always precede a word with a if it doesn't start with a vowel sound. For example, take a hike, I'm spending a weekend at Bernie's, or there's a knight in shining armor. Similarly, we precede words with the indefinite article an if they do start with a vowel sound, for example, an ostrich, an occupational mess, or an occupational health and safety policy.
Throughout the years,
technology has improved drastically, creating machines and devices that were unimaginable 50 years ago. And perhaps the most advanced and interesting of society's technological advancements is robots, but it is also the most misunderstood. In fact, according to recent Pew Research, more than 70% of Americans express concern about a world in which machines perform many of the tasks done by humans. Fortunately, there are people who believe humans and robots can coexist and work together in harmony and are working to debunk many of the fears people have about them. Mouser Electronics Incorporated, a leading semiconductor and electronics component distributor based in Fort Worth, Texas, and celebrity engineer Grant Imahara, have teamed up again for the fourth consecutive year for their Empowering Innovation Together program. Throughout the years, technology has improved drastically, creating machines and devices that were unimaginable 50 years ago. And perhaps the most advanced and interesting of society's technological advancements is robots, but it is also the most misunderstood. In fact, according to recent Pew Research, more than 70% of Americans express concern about a world in which machines perform many of the tasks done by humans. Fortunately, there are people who believe humans and robots can coexist and work together in harmony and are working to debunk many of the fears people have about them. Mouser Electronics Incorporated, a leading semiconductor and electronics component distributor based in Fort Worth, Texas, and celebrity engineer Grant Imahara, have teamed up again for the fourth consecutive year for their Empowering Innovation Together program. A wide range of aspects are covered in this subject. A wide range of aspects are covered in this subject.
Remember to bring calculators to class next week. Remember to bring calculators to class next week.
Philosophy uses logic and reasons to analyze human experience. Philosophy uses logic and reasons to analyze human experience.
If you like our video, kindly subscribe our channel and also press below bell icon. Thank you.